Welcome back to Skim Discusses, your favorite weekly show where I skim, discuss. So, if you're unfamiliar with the format, we do a weekly show where I talk about anything until I finish my cup of joe. Now, this week's drink, cappuccino, Jubala, not my favorite location, not even in my top 10, probably not even really a contender. No one really talks about it. It's run in the playoffs. Not significant. Today's discussion topic is Carlo Robielli's theory on white holes and how it's a little bit bogus, So let's just jump straight into it. Let's get a sip first. Not giving my review yet. That's the end of the show thing. So if you want the review, skip to the end. Robielli, Italian physicist. Love his writings. Okay, I think he's a great writer. Really lets physics be really approachable. His theory on white holes, it's just whole shtick. Really, that's really his main focus in physics. Not my favorite. I think it's good. I think it's strong. It's just not my, it's not my cup of tea. So, let's really get into it. Everyone knows what a black hole is. Okay. Star dies, collapses in on itself. The white hole. Whoa, what the fuck? How do we get there? It's pretty simple, actually. In quantum mechanics, all atoms, all particles have to have the smallest thing, right? It's a quanta. So light is photons. That's the smallest light can get. That's the literal grain of sand that makes that element of the universe. It's pretty simple stuff, to be honest. It's a really easy concept to grasp that there has to be a minimum, right? Things can't be infinitely small. And I agree with that. I think it's ridiculous to say that we can just keep going smaller. So what does that mean for a black hole that's constantly condensing in on itself and collapsing? With something such a gravitational pull as dense as that, because of how small but dense it is, it obviously has to keep getting smaller, right? But with quantum mechanics, it says it can't. It physically has to have a stopping point. But if it's infinitely dense and it continues to collapse in on itself, how does it have a smallest point? If you were to go into a black hole, eventually you would hit a bottom, right? That's what a quanta is saying, that there's a bottom of a black hole, and at the very bottom you would find this tiny little thing, this tiny little hole, this tiny little thing, infinitely small, but not infinitely small. It's finitely small. It's a grain of something. That makes perfect sense. There has to be a bottom. There has to be a minimum size. And that works great for a lot of things. If photons, the Higgs boson, these things are infinitely small, but they don't have a lot of energy, so it's not really an issue. The issue with the black hole is that it has a lot of energy. It has energy, it has gravity, it has density, because it is infinitely small. And this is where the white hole comes in. If this finitely small item has the density and energy of a fully living star, how does that react? Where does that all go? It has to go somewhere. It can't just stay in that ball. That's where Carlo comes in with his white hole theory. If the quanta of the universe is so small it hits the bottom barrier of the universe, let's say there's a bottom line, right? And it hits that bottom line. It can't pass that. Well, if we look at phasing, where the atoms of something can phase through something, Rovielli thinks that this black hole, in its quanta form, in its tiniest little dot, can quantumly phase through that bottom barrier of the universe for, a mere second. It can bounce in between what's real and what's not. If this is the line, it can go below it for a second, and shoot back up. Once again, we run into the energy issue. Now this ball, this finitely small ball with the energy of a sun, has now shot back up. If it crosses the barrier, it goes down, and then it shoots back up. Well, trajectorily, it has to go through the same hole it came out of. But the issue is, its density and mass is so great you can't see it. Right? That's the whole black hole thing. You can't see a black hole. So when it shoots out, like that, see, Carlo thinks that once it finally exits the point of where the hole collapsed in, it'll shoot out, and it'll be the exact opposite of a black hole, a white hole. Not that there'll be a white dot in the middle of space, that makes no fucking sense. It's more saying like there'll be it's just a white hole because it's the opposite of a black hole. Instead of absorbing light, it reflects it, and that's why we can't see it. You know, we can't detect a white hole because it's reflecting all light. And so Carlo, his genius mind's like, oh, this is just dark matter. He just, okay. So let's, TLDR, the white hole is not an actual hole, it's just dark matter. That is his theory. That is his whole thing. That the black hole shoots out of its own hole and it becomes a white hole, which is just dark matter. Who fucking knows, dude? I don't really buy it, and I'll tell you why. If we can observe white holes, or if we can observe dark matter, which we really can't, if we can observe the phenomena of matter that we can't detect, so we just label it as dark matter, that means that means it's happened enough to where we can, observe it and like write it down. We can go see it and be like, oh shit, it's over there. If you were to tell me that there was enough black holes, enough stars have died and then collapsed to their bottomest point, and all of those were able to phase through the universe, the fabric of gravity and space-time. All of them were able to do this and then shoot back up. That's a bit ridiculous to me. I think my issue is the phasing. If there is another way to explain the bounce back out of the hole and into the white hole state, I think I could buy it. But the fact that Rovielli is trying to say that everything can bounce back, it's a bit ridiculous. But also it's like, maybe it can do that. Maybe that there's so much pressure and there's so much gravity and density in that moment that it just creates the perfect storm to phase through. And that's a good point. But I feel like it's also kind of a cop-out. But I'm not a physicist, so who fucking knows? I'm just a guy. I'm just Skim. I'm just skimming it. So, I'm not done with my coffee. But so we still got some time. So that's Carlo Rovielli's theory on white holes. His theory is really what got me into physics. I think it was a great idea, but then you learn more, and it's just like I don't know if I buy this, man. It's just so out there. But maybe it needs to be. Maybe we really need to be out there, and maybe they prove me wrong. But I think the issue with that is it takes a long fucking time for a star to die, and you can only imagine it takes even longer for that black hole to hit its fucking quantum point. So, like, are we even ever going to be able to observe this? I don't think we'll ever find the answer in my lifetime. And that's fine. I'm not really, tossing and turning, waiting to hear about, fucking white holes and shit. But, I'd like to know. I'd like to know if he was right. So what's my counter theory? My counter theory is that when the black hole is sinking through its fucking hole, the energy naturally just bounces off the fabric. It doesn't have to face it. What if it can just bounce? Boing, I see. And then it shoots back out. I really don't like I don't fuck with the quantum leap thing. It just throws the whole thing, makes the whole theory just feel weak, and fucking he was pulling at strings to make shit work. That's what I think, at least. You'd think I'd finish this cappuccino in less than 11 minutes. Maybe because it's bad. Okay. Let's get into the review section of the fucking podcast. Let's finish this and It's just so boring. It's so fucking boring, dude. I know they roast their own fucking beans. They roast their own beans and shit, and it's just not doing it for me, man. I had to wait. I was the only person in line, by the way. I had to wait like 5 minutes for this fucking thing. What are we doing? Here, let me give you the notes. Flat chocolate nut. Pretty box standard. I mean, that's what I like. That's what I look for when my shit. But if I'm paying $5 dude, I'd like to have something fun. I'd like to have something, a bit more flavorful, cooler profile. More jump to it. So yeah, we'll give Jubala regulation rating a 5, dude. It's box standard. It's passable. It does the job. Like I drink a coffee, I guess. Did I have fun at all at any point in the sip? No. Would I ever recommend it? Not really. I just, if you want to get if someone's like, you want to grab a coffee? You want to go to Jubala? Yeah, dude, sure. I know what I'm getting into. I know I'm not gonna be like excited, and that's all right, I guess. So, yeah, black holes, white holes, bullshit. Jubala, bullshit, and yeah, that's it.